An immovable object versus an unstoppable force. An argument as old as time itself. These two characters are heavily debated about. And now we're gonna put them against each other to see who will win.
Thank you to this dude for the video idea, by the way.
First, we're going to talk about their strength, and we're going to start off with Saitama. Saitama is literally the strongest person in One Punch Man. When Saitama was on the moon, Io, which is a little bit bigger than Earth's moon, Saitama destroys it with a table flip, and then sneezes on the gas planet Jupiter, making its core visible. And even though Saitama says serious, it looks like he just starts losing interest mid-fight, not even mentioning the fact Saitama and Garo's serious punches destroy distant stars and even possible galaxies, so we can just assume that he can casually do this. He also kicked away hyperspace portals, which is just absurd, and this would make him like 4D levels of strength. But of course, there's also a panel saying it was a subspace portal, which, you know, isn't 4-dimensional, so who knows. Saitama can also just casually punch into a dimension. Wait, this isn't a dimension. It's some type of physical ability, and shown in this panel saying that you can escape the Phoenix space with just willpower. Okay, so no, Saitama isn't dimension breaking or universe breaking level. But on the bright side, not even a guy who can exponentially grow to infinite levels of power can beat Saitama. Why? Because Saitama just outgrew him. This tells us Saitama doesn't have infinite power, but rather infinite potential, because the graph is exponential and is growing rather than just, you know, being infinite.
Imagine getting buffed just to lose to Johnny Sins or Adult Caillou. So let's talk about how strong Superman is. Some of the things Superman does doesn't even make sense. We already listed some of his feats, and there's still crazy things that Superman has executed, like broke Highfather's staff off the source wall that holds the DC multiverse together, held up 2 quintillion tons with one hand, and if math is mathing correctly, 4 exponential plus 23 is just 4 times 10 to the 23rd power, which is 4 sextillion pounds. This is only a fraction of what your mom weighs. Just kidding. Like and subscribe, please. When 2 Supermans were fighting, they were destroying reality and the multiverse, which is just an insane feat. And even if you were trying to say, well, it's 2 Supermans fighting, and try to downplay it, it doesn't take away the fact that their battle was breaking time, reality, and the multiverse. With even more proof that Superman can destroy the universe, he says himself, if he really wanted to, he could destroy the Phantom Zone, which the Phantom Zone is stated to be boundless in size. Seeing he can easily destroy reality, he probably could destroy the Phantom Zone. If you need even more evidence of Superman being able to destroy the Phantom Zone, literal punches from Superman can shake the boundless zone. Like we said, Superman could probably demolish the zone if he wanted to. In our last video, we said Superman held up heaven. While researching more about Superman, he was able to hold an infinite multiverse together. With all of this being said, Superman is like the pinnacle of strength. He has done way too many crazy lifting feats for this category not to go to him. It's not even close.
So now let's talk about speed. Saitama can catch the blade of Flashy Flash and keep up with Flashy Flash, and it's stated in multiple sources that he's faster than light. For more proof, it's shown in the fight with Monster Garo that they did all of this in microseconds. Able to keep up with this speed shown when he ran with Flashy Flash and when he dogged on Monster Garo. When on IO, assuming Garo and Saitama are getting way stronger and faster because both of them are growing exponentially with Garo's newfound powers, he can body anyone if he can mimic Saitama's serious punch, and which he did. With the radius of IO being 1,131.9 miles, both moving around the moon at massive speeds and using this microsecond panel, this is a big assumption, but I'll just say that they're also moving around the moon in about microseconds, making this math. This would make Saitama and Garo 12,026 times faster than the speed of light. We can assume this because Monster Garo, you know, couldn't beat Saitama, and then Garo, who has a fraction of God's power, can match his serious punch, showing that he's gotten stronger. With Garo being stronger, we can assume that he's also faster and he can match Saitama's speed somewhat. And using this microsecond feat, we can also assume this is also in a microsecond. And then Garo sends Saitama in the opposite way that Garo was going, which he was going to Earth, and Saitama just farts his way back to Garo, which obviously is faster than light. So it's safe to assume Saitama is just much faster than light.
So Superman's speed is kind of hard to dumb down solely because it's so inconsistent. In the last Superman video that we did, we said that he could keep up with the Flash, who outran Death. Although this is true, we don't want people to get the wrong idea and think that he is on par with the Flash. When Flash and Superman were racing, they were doing it for charity. There was even this panel with Superman saying that he has raced Barry before, with Barry implying that it was only for charity, meaning he wasn't going as fast. Just wanted to clear that up so people didn't think that we were dumb. There's also a panel where Superman says that Wally and Barry are moving too fast. With that out of the way, Superman is still fast in his own right. Superman was moving so fast that he broke the bounds of infinity. He was able to outspeed reality warping missiles and was able to do it before a singular heartbeat. He traveled to an unspecified solar system from Earth in a short period of time. Superman was at the edge of the universe and flew to Earth. Considering that we don't know how big this universe is, and we don't want to use these panels and say that it is 200 trillion light years wide. Instead, we're going to look at our observable universe, which is 46.5 billion light years, which a light year is 5,879 billion miles. Of course, the DC universe is probably much larger than our universe. This will be a lowball of Superman's speed, and let's just round up the numbers so it'll be a bit eeasier. We would have 5.88 trillion miles and 47 light years, and we multiply these together. We would say that the distance that he would have to travel is around 276 sextillion miles long. This would mean that Superman would be moving 4.6.
We messed up. It took 60 days for Superman to get to Earth. We accidentally said hours and calculated it by hours. So I'll just read the script, but replace hours by days. This means Superman was moving approximately 4.6 sextillion miles per day, or 100 quintillion miles per hour. Which approximately, this would make him 150 billion times faster than the speed of light.
With all the math that we're doing, this at least deserves a like.
So here's where it gets tricky. We've never seen Saitama take damage, but just because we haven't seen Saitama take damage doesn't mean, he can't take damage. We can look at the things he's been through though. Like, the first thing we could talk about is when Saitama punches Boros' star attack away. In the data books, it's said to be star level, but of course in the manga, it says surface of the earth. We're gonna go with star level and say Saitama can easily punch and resist star level attacks, else his hand would explode. Garo literally took Saitama through the earth, pushing tectonic plates and making the earth bulge. Then even Blast, the #1 hero, noticed and saying space around earth is starting to distort, and Blast was in another dimension at the time. Skip forward some chapters and Saitama clashes with Garo and destroys countless stars, so his durability, going back to Boros, is star level or higher. And like I said before, maybe distant galaxies. You could also talk about how Boros damaged him. Saitama wasn't using his full power, nor did he really get affected by Boros' attack, seeing how he easily punched back Boros' strongest attack without like a slight bit of damage. So this either tells us that, Saitama actually did take damage, but it wasn't like significant, or it was just the art and dramatic effects and all that mess.
So now let's talk about Superman. Superman has shown many feats of him just being a tank. He was shot with black hole lasers, and all it really did to Superman was make it harder for him to control his powers. Considering that the same Superman also flew through multiple black holes, it's safe to assume that he can easily absorb/tank a black hole. In Action Comic 900, Lex Luthor gains infinite power, and Superman is shown just tanking it in any way you look at it. He's tanking attacks of infinity. This gave Death herself a small break, as in Luthor made Death not do her job, and in DC, Death isn't really just a person, it's a multiversal entity. We don't know how to scale Death not being able to function properly, but just know that's extremely impressive, and Superman just tanks the attacks. To dumb this down a bit so it's more understandable, we will be downplaying this feat. Attacking with the power of infinity, we have to understand infinity and scaling. So what's infinite? Well, the only thing I can think of that's infinite is a universe, as it's infinitely expanding. Thus, let's just say getting punched by the universe. What's even crazier is he can't even get erased from history, showing resistance to existence erasure. Even more evidence of existence erasure, the Omega Beams from Darkseid, which stated by himself, Omega Beams not only cease to live, it ceased to ever had been, implying Darkseid can just erase you from the universe. With even more proof of Superman just not dying, he can survive things that can affect him on an atomic level, showing he survives a cosmic storm. He's just extremely durable. Even infinite power can't knock out Superman. Downplaying Superman, he's at least universal level durability.
So let's talk about their IQ. Saitama's IQ is not the best. He got a 21 out of 50 on his written test. This man is not a genius by any means. He has like no IQ feats that are significant enough for a fight. I mean, if you want to count things like his table flip and then he jumped on the rocks to get an advantage on Garo or something, or Saitama's quick thinking when he fought Deep Sea King, saying that he exploited all the heroes and the heroes weakened the monster so he could kill it. So people don't lose hope or think the heroes are weak or anything like that. But that doesn't matter, because what's it going to do against Superman? We'll recall seeing a lot of battle strategies that Saitama uses because he's just so strong, he can just instantly win. So this is the short part of the script. But I'd say Saitama is a normal amount of smart, or just average. We might be downplaying him, but let me know what you think in the comments.
Superman doesn't really have that many super high IQ feats, but the few he has will blow your mind. Superman has read every medical book in a hospital in seconds and also applying that knowledge to performing surgery on Lois. One of Superman's greatest IQ feats is figuring out an equation in a few seconds or minutes that would take a supercomputer years to do. He is also enhanced by his Kryptonian DNA and the Yellow Sun. Let's talk about intelligence level. Brainiac has an intelligence of a level 12, and Superman is also the son of a scientist on Krypton, Jor-El, who has an intelligence level of 8, with Superman having the same level of intelligence. He was able to play a game of chess at super speeds with the Flash and both of them checkmating each other. There's really no comparison. Saitama is really just average people thinking, while Superman is considered to be a super genius. Superman takes this category by a long shot.
So as a Saitama fan who once thought he could easily take down Superman with a singular punch, I've opened my eyes and see that Saitama is nowhere near Superman in terms of anything. For people who say he's a gag character, a gag is supposed to be funny, and if we take the logic of Saitama fans calling Saitama a gag character because the show is funny, there's funny moments in Avatar, many other shows. Is Aang considered a gag character? No. What's that? Is it because there's many serious moments in Avatar? Well, when Saitama was walking away from Boros with a piano in the back, was that funny to you? Or when Genos basically died and Saitama's face was blank with shock, was that really funny? We can't just say Saitama beats Superman because he hasn't taken damage before. That's just not how scaling works.
For the biased Saitama fans, this is the part where we're gonna make you hate us. Superman scales higher than the One Punch Man in every category. I'm not even over-exaggerating either. There is not a single category where it comes to scaling that Saitama is over Superman. There's not enough information to go off of to scale Saitama any higher than this, and as my friend said earlier, we can't just say that Saitama is too durable for Superman just because we haven't seen him take damage. That's not how scaling works. We're not saying that Saitama is getting one-shotted by Superman, we're saying that he loses and it's not fair. We're not dick-eating either. Have a good day.